Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Thursday night live streaming Strumstick lessons. And we are going to be doing a Christmas song tonight. And this particular one, Silent Night, we're going to be working in the upper range of the Strumstick, which we don't do as often. So it's a good example for showing a whole bunch of things that we haven't spent as much time talking about. And I have it set up so that it's tablatured out in a fairly complex way in the upper register, and then there's also, I have another screen I'll show you that has the playing it in the lower octave, and I'll mention some chords that we can do that with. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go back to the I'm just going to put the opening screen back on for about 5 seconds, and the audio will go away and stuff. But just so that in the actual video of this, the full reference to it is there, and there's also a link at the bottom, which is on this page too. But it's a link there that you can copy. You have to probably type it in if you're looking at the video. That goes to a free holiday songs tablature that we have on the strumstick.com website, and I also pasted that into the chat if you're following the chat. But I'll going to bring the opening screen back for about 5 seconds. Here we go. Okay, so that's kind of documented now. That'll be in the video that's findable after the lesson is over. So let's kind of dive right in with the song here. Let's see. That's the lower that's showing, and there's the upper that's showing. Wait a minute here. All right, why have I got that there? There we go. That's the one we want to see, and we can leave this on the bottom. Okay. So if you notice that I've got notes on all three strings in a bunch of places, and I also have the notes on the first string are written out in black type and with a white box around them. Let's just run through first briefly on just the first string notes, and I'm going to show you the very quick way to harmonize it, which is not written down here. So we're starting at fret number 4. That's 4, 5, 5, 2, and that little slide from 4 to 5 you might be able to work that slide in. Look, I see one mistake already because it's that should be back. That this the 5 there should be a 4, so it's 4, 5, 4, 2. Okay, so that's basically how the notes on the first line with whatever mistakes are in there. Then up to 9. So here's fret 8, and there's fret 9. To fret 7, then to 8, to 4, then 5, then 8, 7, 5, 4, 5, 4, 2, 5, 5, what are we, is that 8? 8, 7, 5, 4, 5, 4, 2, and then all the way up to 9. And then 11, highest note we've done in a lesson here. Then up to 10, then 8, down to 4, and that little tilde there meaning a slide, suggesting a slide. And you can, sometimes a slide is, and you don't hit the note again. Sometimes a slide is a little accent, and then you do pluck the note again. That's your taste. Okay, so that's the basic sequence of notes. Now, if you're familiar with some of our instructions, we talk about a concept called mini chords, M-I-N-I, mini. There are many chords, but we're using mini chords. And basically, if you're fingering a note, say here, 4th fret on the 1st string, and then you put your 2nd finger down 1 fret higher on the 2nd string, that little chord form can slide up and down. And if you maintain that 1 fret spacing, it makes a harmony wherever you finger it. So the quick way to harmonize this song is to play, excuse me, is to simply do that mini chord form, and whatever note your 1st finger is at, that's the notes on the 1st line here. So 4, 5, 4, 2, and we're not saying what this 2nd finger is doing. That's just coming along for the ride. So you're like a little freight train here. Now you could do some sliding in there. This one here. Anytime you slide over just a 1 fret distance, that's where you get the most volume on the 2nd note. And again, you can either go silent and not even strum on I, or you can do the slide as sort of as a grace note, you know, as a tag on the original fingering, and then strum it again properly where it would belong by itself. So it would be silent. So that's a little grace ornament where you slide to the new fret and then play the new fret. So that's a very useful trick to use whether you're doing a single note or the mini chord there. And then now where are we? Around, we're at. See how pretty is that? And you can, instead of going full strums there with a pick. Whoops, sorry. This song is best done slow and kind of a free rhythm. If you do just a little roll strum with your thumb, where you're going bump up bum instead of bring all at once. And then you can do fast rolls, or a very slow roll. In this case, slow can refer to the time in between each string, boom, 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 or it could refer to the time, you know, from group of notes to group of notes. Either of those could be slow. And that's with a very spread out spacing of the note groups, and also slow actual individual strums, or there I spread apart the note groups, but the individual strums were moderately brisk, but still separate, ba-ba-bum, rather than bring all at once. Okay, so then we go. Let's take it from Holy Infant, so tender and mild, down to the bottom. Sleep. And that's using the mini chord all the way through. Now, that's a quick way to harmonize it. And instead of doing strumming, you could do some kind of little picking. which we're not going to go into a picking arrangement for this, but you can, you know, you can add a little stuff in between the chord groups there if you want. What we want to do now is we want to look at the little more detailed arrangement that I have written out in the upper octave, where we are using sometimes fragments of the mini chord, but sometimes another fingering. So if there are notes written on in red on another string, add that note to the note that you see it with the white background and the black note there. And the other strings would either be not played, or they could be just played open as they are. Just so if it's nothing written on a string, feel free to play it open, to actually let it sound. So where this goes, it could be where I'm still strumming all three strings, and that's basically what my intention was with this. But if you only did it's still very beautiful. It's quiet, slow. Let each note ring. Don't take your finger way too soon. That will sound better with this than... Let me take the reverb I have on here off so you can hear that cutting off. Well, that's just the resonance of the Strumstick. But anyway, so don't cut the notes off. Hold them as long as possible until the last moment before you move to the next one. Rather than... That would be an exaggeration for demonstrating the effect. And of course, I do have some reverb on this because it just seems to go nice with a quiet, snowy, silent night. Okay, so we have... And the effect of that is that you have little bursts of chord, whereas if we did it with the mini chords, it's the same relative fingering over and over again, so it's a little more, each thing is a little more like each other thing, whereas if you do the single notes against the drone, there's that little burst of chord that slides in right there. And you can decide if you're only going to play a couple single notes rather than strumming all three. So you still have, even though you're doing what is fundamentally a very simple arrangement, it's some notes, maybe some harmony fingerings at points, you can still create texture and variation within it by playing a single note, by playing two strings, by playing three strings. And you'll see that's how the arrangement is written out to allow you to do that either way. So we've got that whole first section. And then we go up to the 9. Now here we're going to go to an octave pair, which we've done sometimes before in arrangements. But we're fingering the first string and the third string at the same fret. And that gives you a note and a note an octave higher. And we're leaving the drone note in the middle. All is calm. All is... Then at bright, we're going to go to the mini chord fingering. So all is calm. All is bright. So we're using this octave harmony here, and then going back to a more a richer harmony here. Now the difference is that the octaves, you've got, the way octaves work is two notes an octave apart are essentially the same note. They disappear into each other. Now if I just do this and I just do this, you can hear that that's a different sound than the two at the same time. You can see that they do not technically harmonize with each other. They don't create another note going on. They function as though they're the same. It's kind of a very odd concept. There's, like, for example, with color, there's nothing that really corresponds to that if you think about notes as colors. So this is something peculiar to sound. But two notes an octave apart. have more power than either one by itself. So it's certainly a harmony effect, and scholars disagree about whether that's technically harmony or not harmony. And I'm told that in Roman times that was what passed for harmony, was octaves. We'll have to, somebody maybe can check on whether that's accurate or not. I was told that by some music students that were going to college, so they certainly must have known what they were talking about. Okay, so we've come through the octave section. What's he? Yeah, see, Sleeping Heavenly. So we got sleep. That's let's see where I'm lost. Oh, you know what? The way I wrote this, I just went. I didn't do the mini chord there in the arrangement that I wrote out there. So I wrote, and what I've written out is go. Now here's this long slide, and then the plucked note. It could also have been, and then the mini chord. But that slide from 8 to 4, it's a beautiful chilly feeling to it. Like a sled going downhill. So we have, and now here we have all three strings played at the 4th fret, which would be a bar A chord, and then the D form with the note fingered on the bottom string rather than the first string. So the melody note is here, and then we're adding the chord note here. So that's a basic arrangement with a whole bunch of little different harmony possibilities. And I'm going to just play through that slowly from the beginning so you can see each of the possible fingerings. And let's see if I play it through without any mistakes here, because I don't generally read and perform from tablature. So but I want to do exactly what I've got written down here. All right. See what I mean? I don't read it. Once more. Okay. There we go. And that's what we're using the mini chord from there. And then this 5 and 3 and 3 is the bar G, and then we have this fingering here, which is, this is a G chord, so this is a G, and this is a G, and this is a G, and this is from the 3rd string. That's 5th fret, 6th fret on the 2nd string, 8th fret on the 1st string. So that's the fingering we're using right here. So we have and the fingering there is, I've got this G, and then I drop down 1 fret, which is kind of a 7th-y kind of chord. And then I have to put the bar across all 3 strings. So I have 5th and 5th on 1st and 3rd strings, and I am still holding the 6th on the middle string. So that's... So that whole sequence. And I didn't write this down, but there's a little variation you could put in there. You, instead of fingering the G chord, which is this, if you pick this finger up, now you're on B minor, and you could substitute that. drops into a little minor for a second. Virgin or Virgin, Virgin, and then comes back to major. So it gives a little kind of a little emotional dip there. And then from there we go to 4 and 5. That's the mini chord form. The mini chord in there, and then this repeats. Okay, and then I have written a slide in there, but it's hard to do that slide if you're doing the octaves. Peace. If you're here, you can have this almost ghost slide. And you could try that with the octave if you want. Now here I'm going to leave the octave and just go to here. And I'm going to do this. And then I could do that slide that again down to the 2. So this is where we are located here is we did P-ease and then sleep in he. So that's sleep, sleep in. And then a bar. And the ending that we did before. So that's the fingerings for the that's the fingerings for the upper octave of Silent Night. And if there are no questions, and by the way, Don Smith had requested this last week or last lesson, but I hope everyone had a peaceful and safe holiday last Thursday. I forgot to mention that at the previous lesson that we be taking the holiday off. So welcome back after all that. Let's take a look at, I'm going to make the upper octave go away, and let's look at, this is, I have all of it here, but just the bottom half of it showing. Maybe I'll move that up a little bit. So this is an octave lower. Now here we have, I'll just play the single notes. So that's the fingerings for the single notes, and you could be strumming. Now, when you've got melody notes on the second string and you strum all three, the ear tends to latch on the highest note of a sequence as though it were the most noticeable note. It's the last one played, and it's also the one that penetrates the most, being higher. So you might want to only strum the bottom 2 strings. So that you're not having that first string going, silent night, holy night, all, then, then all is calm, all is bright. That's what it would sound like if I strummed all three strings all the time. Okay, I put the chord in there. Sorry. Now I didn't write chord fingerings for that for all this lower octave out, but I'm just going to say them here. Silent night, holy night. This would be the A chord here. All is calm. Then back to the D chord. All is bright. And a lot of times I'll finger the D with the lower note added to it. Bright. Then the G chord. Round yon round yon virgin. So this is all off the G chord. Round yon virgin mother. Back to the D. So you could finger that. Round virgin. Or you could finger this G. Round virgin. And then mother and child is the D, so you could finger mother and child, holy infant. So that's the G again. Then to the D, tender and mild, or tender and mild. Then the A, sleep is in it, the A chord again. Sleepin', sleepin'. Now you can, you can't really do that and get that third fret note. So you have to release sleepin'. If you want to get this note added to some semblance of the A chord. Sleep in heavenly peace. Now here's just a nice spot for peace to do the mini chord form with the D there. Peace, sleep in, and then single notes there. Sleep in. Sleep in. Wait. Have is the open string, right? Sorry. Sleep in. This would be an A chord. Then just by and then the A again. So that last little bit is sleep in, A chord, heaven, peace. Okay, because I'm not fingering this, we're fingering this when we are at this location right there. So there are the basic fingerings for the upper octave and the lower octave. No questions at this point. Let's see here, in terms of now kind of dressing this up. Let's take... the song is in 3, so it's 3 beats per measure. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 would be a good rhythm. If we were doing just the chords, you could be going silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. It's just a long stretch of D and then a bit of a stretch of A and then back to the D, then to G, round yon virgin, back to the D and child, G, 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 D, 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 A, 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 D, still D, D, D. Okay, so if you're leading a sing-along with this, that's one way to do it. Now, I think I'm always most moved by this song when it's done very slow and very free, almost without rhythm, like maybe rhythm within sections, but not like everything strung together on a grid. So that's more like silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. And there probably is a very slow meter in the way that I'm doing that. That's almost unconscious, but it's just single strums here and there. Round yon virgin mother and child. And you'll hear sometimes it done orchestrally with a kind of an arpeggio, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and going all the way through. It's a little tricky doing that with only 3 strings, but that boom 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 boom. Silent night, holy night. All is calm, all is bright. What I'm doing there is I'm going to say the string numbers 3 2 1 2 1 2 3 2 1 2 1 2. That's the rhythm. And if you muffle it with the edge of your hand, the right hand mute, you have a pizzicato effect, like a plucked violin. So I gotta get my note there. Silent. This is a bad key for me. Silent night, holy night. Oh well, you get the idea. Sorry. And if you're trying to sing the song and play that little thing, that little arpeggio, you really would need to practice that arpeggio a bit to get it automatic, which obviously you can see what happens if you have not practiced it to make it automatic. So, I can do it if I'm not trying to sing the words at the same time, just by concentrating on each little step, boom, boom, boom. But that would be at the edge of my practiced ability to sing this song and do that arpeggio with those chords. And now if I practice that for 5 or 10 minutes, then I would be able to do that. So that's a good example of how it doesn't matter what your skill level is. When you do something you haven't done before, you have to sometimes practice to sort out the individual elements and then practice again to fit those elements together because they make combinations that you haven't dealt with before. Now, the more experience you have with the Strumstick and the more skill you've developed, the shorter that amount of practice time would be to adapt to those things. But I think that little arpeggio sounds really pretty all by itself. So if you're leading people in a sing-along with this song, you might do that for a whole verse where you don't sing and you just go... and so on. Now, you could use different chord forms there, where it's a D, So sometimes I had two different Ds, two different Gs, two different A fingerings to add a little more life to it, which you would probably again want to practice that ahead of time if you're going to lead a song doing it that way. Now, where I did the arpeggios as single notes, you could do very quiet strums there. I think, you know, is a little strong, and I'm going just down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and. But if you did that with the right hand mute, silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. And you, particularly if you're going to do that, you want to give an accent on the one beat and then a little quieter on all the rest of the strums. Round yon virgin run around. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so there's a couple of other ways to arrange the backing of this. Now, you could start to put more melody into it with those chords. So that gives you, you know, mixing the melody and mixing the chords together. Now there we're doing that in the lower octave. You could do those same kind of things. You could even do the arpeggio. And interrupt the arpeggio to play the melody note. That's going to get too complicated. I'm not going to go into that. If you try to do the arpeggio in between the spaces of the upper melody, you can definitely do that. But it really is just little fragments of the arpeggio, and you're concentrating on getting the whole melody played at the right time. So it's almost like doing two things at the same time. But you could do that. Now, that brings us to, you could alternate, play the first verse in the upper octave, the second verse in the lower octave, and the third verse in the first octave. I'm not really sure how many verses there are to Silent Night. Most people know the first one, and they sing it over and over again. And you could also go through with some subtle variations, as we talked about earlier, maybe doing the mini chords. By the way, and that would work nice with the strumming too. You could also do that with the arpeggios, I think. Again, I think we won't go into breaking it all the way down that far. Okay, so there's a bunch of different possibilities on this, and if you want to get adventurous, certainly Mannheim Steamroller kind of broke the ice on adventurous arrangements of holiday songs, shifting them into other time signatures sometimes doing slow songs up tempo and up tempo songs slowly, and so on. And people have been rearranging Christmas tunes for many years, but they particularly got a reputation for their doing that. So I'm just going to show you some odder. I think you could put this into a kind of a quiet punk. And I'm just totally shooting off the top of my head here. So here I'm doing the forearm mute. Now it's the same exact rhythm, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and, but instead of a soft, gentle, it's a little more strident. Let's try it up here. If you're going to do that slightly more strident, dum da da dum dum da da dum da da dum, add some extra upstrums in there. I'm working without an ad here. Okay, so there we have a bunch of different arrangements for Silent Night, and I hope you find that a nice, lovely song to play, maybe in the evening when the snow is coming down as you sit by your Christmas tree, if that's the way you celebrate the holiday. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at strumstick.com, info@strumstick.com. And as I said, there are, and if you look at this link down here, there it is. You can see a little better against the darker background. If you copy that out and paste it in, you can get the tablature to a bunch of holiday songs. It's free on our website. You have to go through like you're purchasing a product, but it's free. And then you'll get to a download link that'll let you download all those PDFs. So with that said, I'm going to just kind of play us out here, and I hope everyone has a safe and peaceful week till the next lesson. And we'll probably be doing holiday songs right up through up until Christmas. So we'll be doing another holiday song or two next Thursday night, and thank you for coming. Let's see here. Happy holidays, everybody.